Like our average hourly wage in Nevada is $28 to $30 an hour. That's a pretty reasonable
It's a living wage.
Yeah. And even here, I think it's $28, $29 an hour. Manufacturing is a legitimate bona fide career that you can pursue. But we have to demonstrate these opportunities to these young kids and show them that, and especially I think it's different in Nevada than in Coeur d'Alene, because we do certainly have a much more diverse population in Nevada. Got a lot of migrant families. A lot of them drop out of high school, end up working for their dad's tiling company, or I hate to paraphrase things, but like they end up with that, where I'm trying to get the school board and the people down there to understand, hey, we have to build this infrastructure for these kids so that they have a legitimate other opportunity. Help them develop a trade. Help them to develop other skills. I think one of the biggest success we've had out of K-Tech here is our diesel mechanics program. Western Caterpillar pretty much has a standing job offer for every kid graduating that diesel mechanics program. And they're walking out of there not making chump change, and they have no debt.
That's huge.
That's huge.
Especially, so many of these college kids are coming out with degrees that are unusable, impractical, with mounds of debt, and they spend their whole entire adult life trying to work out of it.
Yeah.
And, not to say that, college is great for a lot of people, and certainly there are professional careers that demand that type of academic rigor. But there are a lot of high quality jobs for people that can just transition right from high school into doing, participating in careers that are these days very supply demand driven.
I remember, this going back years ago, having to speak at a career day here in Coeur d'Alene, and one of the young men in the audience stood up and said, I want to be a CEO when I grow up. I said, that's great aspirations, but I want you to remember one thing: every company only has one CEO, and there's multiple other positions. So you better have a plan B about how do I chart a path to get to there? Because it is a pyramid that you have to climb and go through, with develop your skills and build on that and build on that and build on that. And I think that's the biggest challenge with kids today, is that they just think, oh, I can just go be a CEO. Sure, you're going to do it, but it's not going to be very effective. I was actually, my wife and I were at a restaurant last night, and I was listening to a guy, the bartender that we were sitting at the bar having dinner, was a very ambitious young man. I was very actually quite impressed with the number of things that he's done. And I'm listening to this guy that's telling him, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, and forget this and forget that. And I'm thinking, oh man, you were totally setting this kid up for failure. I hope he doesn't listen to a word you said, because there are certain things that you just can't avoid, those building blocks to be able to develop your career and develop yourself in what you're doing. And again, you build through failure, not through successes.
Yeah, and I also think, I use the expression, the heavy is the head that wears the crown. And you strive to be the leader of a company, to go out on your own, to be the final say, but it comes with an enormous amount of responsibility and stress. And I think that one of the things that has been the hardest challenge for me with Texas Precious Metals, I shouldn't say a hard challenge, but something that consumes my mind, is the important responsibility that we have to the families that work for the company, and to be a steward and to shepherd our decisions in such a way to ensure that these people are still going to be able to buy homes and have children and send their children to school, and to do all the things that are necessary for their family and day-to-day life. And you think about your own family. I have a wife and children, but my family extends beyond to all of these people that I am now responsible for. And it's some days are fantastic. The successes are wonderful. But when we go through the valleys and you realize that, you've really got to be on your A game to make sure that things are operating the way that they need to, because if things go sideways, the impact is not just me, it has this domino effect all the way down the chain. And it's one of the challenges of being a leader.
Absolutely. I mean, it's easy for me to say I have 360 employees, but there's probably 1,400 people that I'm responsible for.
Mm-hmm.
When you start going out and out and out, and then the other thing that most people don't understand, the impact manufacturing has on a local community. So and this is a well-known study. I think KPMG did this. Every manufacturing job developed in a community equates to 4.1 other jobs that get created as a result of it to supply part of the supply chain or services and things like that. So manufacturing is a very, very, very critical part of any
means of production.
Absolutely, and not just jobs, but the ancillary jobs and the other secondary and third level jobs that it creates. So it's critical. And to your point, the U.S. lost a lot of that, right? So when I I admire a lot about what President Trump is trying to do and build back, make America great again and do that stuff. You have to start with the infrastructure. You have to start with the education system, because we've lost a lot of those talents. KPMG also had a study come out a few years ago. It said in the next 10 years, the job skills gap is going to leave an average of 2.8 million jobs a year unfulfilled, because here's where the skills are, but there's nobody there to backfill them.
Right.
So my mission as a CEO, and I've got my team in Nevada and my team in Idaho working on this, is to really focus in on workforce development, not just internally, but externally. Where's the next generation of workers coming from? At the end, somebody's got to build this stuff.
Well, I think many people today are pointing to AI as solving that problem. Now, we're in an analog business that uses digital technology. AI is not going to solve all of your problems. It's not going to replace your entire workforce. There have been significant technological advancements, though, over the last 10 years that I know that you've implemented in your facilities. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you use technology?
Yeah, what we do is, we try to identify opportunities where, because labor is so difficult to acquire and maintain, we try to take people that are in low value add jobs, very menial tasks. Those are the first ones we try to automate. We try to add robots, and then take those people, upskill them, and redeploy them into much more value add type of processes. So that's been our thing, is looking at areas where, we have a robotic cell in Idaho. We have a couple of robotic cells in Nevada. It's menial tasks that, it's better to take that person that's making $28 or $30 an hour and putting them on something that's far more critical part of the process. A prime example in Nevada, weighing these pieces, some of the large format pieces, there was never an easy way to do it. So it meant taking an army of people sitting on a scale, weighing one at a time. Now think about that. 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting in front of the scale, weighing one of these at a time. So we worked with a local integrator. We developed a robotic weighing cell. But what we did with all those 6 people that were part of the weighing team, we put them through an upskilling program. They're now trained how to program that robot. And we were able to pay them a better wage to be able to do that. They're thrilled, and now we have 6 motivated employees that are looking for what's the next opportunity, what's the next thing that I could learn and earn a little bit more money as a result of that. So I think the challenge with AI, robotics, is you have to make sure that your workforce doesn't become fearful of that. You demonstrate that by saying, hey, nobody's getting laid off as a result of this. We're just using this to be able to expand. So robotics for our menial tasks, our new press systems and things like that, now they're fully automated systems where they used to be all manual feed one at a time. Again, it's working with the companies to create the integration and the automation on the machines. And now they become just a more highly skilled operator, because you can watch them now program these things on the machines. I don't know that AI is ever going to, but as you said, we're very much in an analog business. I don't know if you can see it on this, like this particular piece. That's 160 hours of hand labor that went into creating that piece. That's we can't always lose the intrinsic beauty part of our business as well too. We're not just making a widget that goes in, some car somewhere. This is something that people are going to see. So
for those listening and don't have a visual, this is a 500-ounce Texas silver round in coin form. Probably one of the biggest coins in the world made of silver at this point.